Is your Maytag MEDC465HW0 dryer blowing cold air? This video will guide you through diagnosing and fixing the most common causes: a faulty heating element, a blown thermal fuse, or a tripped circuit breaker. We'll focus on practical, DIY-friendly solutions. Remember to always unplug your dryer before starting any repairs to ensure safety. Let's examine the key components involved in your Maytag MEDC465HW0 dryer's heating system. The heating element is the core component that generates the heat. It's a coiled wire that produces around 5,400 watts to dry your clothes. Common failures include corrosion or short circuits, and you can test it by checking for continuity with a multimeter, which should read between 10 and 20 ohms. The thermal fuse acts as a safety device to prevent fires. It blows at 225 degrees Fahrenheit if the dryer overheats. This can happen due to heat buildup or lint, and you can test it for continuity with a multimeter. If it's open, it needs to be replaced. The circuit breaker safeguards your home's electrical system. It trips during overloads or shorts, cutting power to prevent damage. You'll need to reset it in your home panel, but always investigate the underlying cause to avoid repeated trips. A failure in any of these components, the heating element, thermal fuse, or circuit breaker, can stop your dryer from producing heat. In the following segments, we'll walk through how to diagnose and fix these issues. Before troubleshooting the heating issue on your Maytag MEDC465HW0 dryer, perform these initial checks to ensure proper power supply and venting. First, verify that your dryer is receiving the correct 240-volt power supply. This is essential for the heating element to function properly. Next, inspect the dryer vent for obstructions. A clogged vent restricts airflow, causing the dryer to overheat and potentially blowing the thermal fuse. Finally, check your home's circuit breaker panel for any tripped breakers connected to the dryer circuit. Reset any tripped breakers, but be sure to identify why it tripped to prevent future issues. To diagnose the heating element, first unplug the dryer for safety. Then, remove the back panel to access the internal components where the heating element is located. Next, use a multimeter set to measure ohms. Connect the probes to the multimeter, preparing to test the heating element. Now, touch the probes to the heating element terminals to test for continuity. A functioning heating element should show a resistance reading between 10 and 20 ohms. If the multimeter shows no continuity or an open circuit, the heating element is faulty and needs replacement. Heating elements typically cost around $50 and can be purchased from appliance parts suppliers. The thermal fuse is a critical safety component in your Maytag MEDC465HW0 dryer. This small white device, typically located near the heating element, acts as a failsafe that cuts power if temperatures exceed 225 degrees Fahrenheit, preventing potential fires from overheating. To check if the thermal fuse is functioning, use a multimeter set to continuity mode. Touch the test probes to the fuse's terminals. If the multimeter beeps or shows a low resistance reading, the fuse has continuity and is working properly. However, if there's no beep and no continuity reading, the fuse has blown and needs replacement. Thermal fuses are inexpensive, typically costing around $10, and can be found at appliance parts stores or online. If the circuit breaker tripped, reset it. If it trips immediately again, there may be a short circuit. Investigate further, potentially with professional help. Remember that breakers trip in 25% of cases due to household overloads and not always the dryer. Common mistakes when fixing dryer heat issues include skipping safety precautions. Always unplug the dryer before working on it to avoid electrical shock. Double-check all wiring connections to ensure they're secure and not corroded, as loose wires can cause shorts or fires. Remember, if you're not comfortable working with electricity, call a qualified appliance repair technician to avoid risks. DIY attempts have caused 10% of secondary fires, according to expert reports. Safety should always come first. Preventative maintenance is key to avoiding dryer heat issues. Start by regularly cleaning your lint trap and dryer vent to prevent buildup that can cause failures. Consider using dryer maintenance apps that offer predictive diagnostics to catch potential problems early. Looking ahead, future dryers will feature more eco-friendly designs and low heat cycles that reduce the likelihood of failures. A real example from Reddit shows a 2018 MEDC465HW0 dryer fixed by replacing a blown thermal fuse caused by lint buildup. After cleaning and replacement, it worked reliably for 2 years. Regular maintenance like this prevents about 50% of common dryer failures.